All right, so we got a lot to talk about when it comes to Cyberpunk 2077 in this video, including this headline right here: the brutal truth about patch 1.6 and future updates, CD Projekt's critical responses about their new development process. This is insight as to why in the world update 1.6 is taking forever to release. Also, it does kind of explain what's going on with the expansion as well. So yes, and guess what? CD Projekt Red is up to something very interesting lately. The fans have discovered something, and it suggests that they could be doing something very big indeed. And we're going to be talking about what if Cyberpunk had truly been delayed another year. We're going to be talking about the monumental change it would have had on the gaming industry as a whole. So we're going to dive into that as well. But first, check this out right here. All right, it's time to get serious. We need to talk about the absolute importance of grooming what I dub the 3 odor zones. That's right, the body, the butt, and yes, even the balls. Manscaped by far offers the best tools and liquid formulations to manage all these areas with care that they absolutely deserve. And guess what? Manscaped hooked me up with a ton of their stuff from their all-in-one perfect package 4.0. So let's take a look-see. What's this? We have the new Lawnmower 4.0, Manscaped's 4th generation cordless electric and waterproof trimmer. Yep, that means you could trim even in the shower. It also has advanced skin-safe technology, which reduces nicks and cuts on the most sensitive regions of the body. Now, the Lawnmower 4.0 is super easy to charge, by the way. See these little LED lights on the front? They tell you when the Lawnmower 4.0 is fully juiced and ready to go. And get this, you get up to 90 minutes of use when it's fully charged. There's also a cool travel lock feature, which is excellent for travel. And I never thought I needed this, but we've even got what's called Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant here, and also the Crop Reviver Ball Toner Spray. Keep those balls feeling fresh and alive. You just simply apply the Crop Preserver after your shower, and the Crop Reviver adds cooling aloe vera to keep the area refreshed. I love Manscaped's disposable shaving mat, by the way, called the Magic Mat, which offers a ton of funny content. And if you're feeling ballsy, why not try out some of the suggested hair designs right here? And for a limited time, you get all of this plus 2 free gifts: the Shed Travel Bag and the Manscaped Anti-Chafing Boxer Briefs. Go to manscaped.com today and get 20% off plus free international shipping plus 2 free gifts when you use promo code OpenWorld at checkout. And a very special thank you, by the way, to Manscaped for believing in my work and sponsoring this video. All right, so let's get back into the Cyberpunk news, shall we? First of all, starting with this one right here. It says a new video got uploaded to the Cyberpunk YouTube channel, but it's still private. 2 weeks ago, of course, the channel had 89 videos. Now it has 90. So it seems like something is coming soon. And a lot of people are suggesting in the comments, yeah, it could be a new Edge Runners trailer dedicated to, of course, Netflix Cyberpunk anime series that's coming up here. That could be true, or we could be actually seeing a video dedicated to perhaps future updates for Cyberpunk 2077. I myself think it could be a mix. We'll have to wait and see what happens with that, but I wouldn't be surprised if it turns out to be Edge Runners, which I think is going to be cool anyway. I think Edge Runners is going to be awesome. It's looking absolutely amazing. But we also have to talk about this one right here. Check out the headline. It says, Cyberpunk delayed another year could have changed the industry. And this comes from Forbes. It's a brand new article, and it really hit me in the feels. Let me tell you this. Check it out. It says this right here. I think people are forgetting just how much hype there was for Cyberpunk before it was released. It was enough to propel the game to an absolutely unthinkable 13.7 million sales in just the final 3 weeks of December, an astonishing total that even Elden Ring didn't match this past year in that same time period. Those are, for the lack of a better comparison point, Grand Theft Auto numbers. Yes, that's what I've always thought. I always think to myself, if only it didn't have such a horrible launch. If they would have just nailed it out of the gates, I really do think we would have a competitor to GTA 5 right now. And in many ways, you know, a lot of people would say, hey, Robbie, yo, slow down. After update 1.5, it is a competitor to GTA 5. Let me know if you think that or not. But check it out. It says the point is, if Cyberpunk had debuted in a better state, I genuinely think that we could be living in an industry with a legitimate competitor to Rockstar's GTA series. The interest was there, the early sales were there, and a year or so later, the actual full game was also there, but the window was already missed, and the reputational damage to both CD Projekt Red and Cyberpunk itself was done. Do you believe that CD Projekt Red and even Cyberpunk are redeemable? Do you believe that forgiveness should be given over to CD Projekt Red and Cyberpunk at this point? Sound off. Now, furthermore, it goes on to say this: I don't think everyone has been following just how much has been patched with Cyberpunk since it was released. It's not just thousands and thousands of bug fixes and performance upgrades. They have been rebalanced. They have even rebalanced the economy, difficulty level, combat, driving controls, essentially every major aspect of the game. And honestly, they do have a ways to go. I'm not gonna lie. Like the police system, come on now. They need to get that working. That's like the base of any open world game. That's just my opinion, of course. Now we have this one right here. It's true. Some things were never patched in, like a robust police wanted system exactly, or real car chases of any kind, categories which GTA still wins. But Cyberpunk, once you were no longer battling goofy bugs or performance issues so bad it caused Sony to rip it off the PlayStation Store, became something truly great, and genuinely the most meaningful do crimes in the city's sandbox entry since any other GTA title, and nothing else is particularly close. 100% agree with that one. And again, a lot of people are saying, hey, this game is as good, if not better, than GTA in many ways, GTA 5. Yeah, so I think the story, it for me, really does captivate me for Cyberpunk a little bit more than GTA. I know, shots fired there. Let me know if you guys agree with that statement or not. I'm sure that's controversial what I just said, but here, check this out right here. It says, this combined with the obvious interest in the game could have created a future, let me zoom this in, where Cyberpunk arrived as a hit in holiday 2021. Thousands of bugs gone, performing well on all platforms, quality of life changes made. CD Projekt Red could have not thrown 80% of their stock price down the drain as industry confidence fled from them after the release. Cyberpunk could have produced more DLC early on. That's the part that really hurts. Rather than spending a year and a half just fixing things, we could have gotten 2 major expansions instead of just one. Perhaps the multiplayer game that was planned wouldn't have been canceled. Honestly, I would have preferred like a 3rd and a 4th single player expansion. That's just me. And this is then perhaps Cyberpunk 2 would have been a priority rather than now merely an open question that maybe we could see it someday once The Witcher 4 is out in another 5 years or whatever it will be. Cyberpunk could have been one of the most popular, significant IPs of the generation. You know, my assessment with Cyberpunk 2, I don't think it's a maybe. I personally think it's going to be a definite. And the assumption over at CD Projekt Red right now, at least the wish and the hope, is that they do parallel development between the new Witcher game and, of course, Cyberpunk 2 eventually. I think the goal is to start that parallel development process by 2024. That's my personal opinion on that one. But yeah, I assume that's what they would really, really like to do. Now, we got to talk about update 1.6. A lot of you guys are scratching your head wondering, where in the world is this update? And why in the world are we not seeing any marketing material related to update 1.6? So we're going to go to what CD Projekt Red has said officially about how they are handling their development process, marketing, and that sort of thing. Let's take a look at what they have to say here. I'm going to zoom this in once again. It says, going forward, our marketing campaigns will be much shorter. And it says, we will wait until we are much closer to the game's launch before we start showing things like trailers, demos, or going into any depth about mechanics, etc. So that does explain to me a lot as to why we are not seeing tons and tons of marketing behind update 1.6. And we're seeing that becoming more commonplace in the game industry as a whole. You're seeing Starfield. They're very quiet about that game. They did show their gameplay demonstration, but they could show more, but they refuse. They're really holding out, which is kind of annoying, but also understandable that they want to be careful of how they market these games and not overhype their own games. Now, it goes on to say this. He added that marketing campaigns will focus on polished game footage and demos, not concepts. And games will be shown on all platforms on which a game will launch. Cyberpunk was significantly more problematic on older gen consoles. Now, it goes on to say this, CD Projekt also said the company will keep customers up to date with general annual roadmaps for Cyberpunk and Witcher franchises. Now, that makes me scratch my head because we don't have a real roadmap, at least in my opinion, for Cyberpunk. It is extremely vague. A lot of you guys are wondering, beyond just the expansion, beyond just update 1.6, we know those things are coming up here, but what about the free DLC? Where did the free DLC go? We haven't heard a lot of mention about that. I'm hoping and assuming it's coming with update 1.6. Furthermore, they go on to say this right here. One significant shift is that CD Projekt Red, CD Projekt's core development team, plans to transform into what Kaczynski calls Red 2.0, a concept that hinges on parallel AAA development. He said, "We want to improve the way we make games, and Red 2.0 is our starting point." And this is big. This is by far one of the biggest things in all of these quotes, in my opinion. It says this right here. This includes centralizing Red Engine to serve two franchises, Cyberpunk and The Witcher, scaling on the company's talent pool, and deploying a team of cross-project experts and reposition for agile game production, among other operational shifts. That takes time. This is why update 1.6, the expansion, are taking so long, because between all the development process of the actual update and of course the expansion, you have new training going on for the agile methodology that's going on for the development process and all that stuff. It takes time, effort, and I'm sure it's subtracting time away from the development process of the actual update itself and the expansion. In other words, they are preparing for the future, and you have to remember there's another layer to this as well. Unreal Engine 5, which is going to be their new engine for everything, CD Projekt Red. So that makes it even more complicated. So yeah, a lot going on for sure. So yeah, let's talk a little bit more about the actual expansion itself. Check this out right here. It goes on to say this: according to Kaczynski, the Cyberpunk expansion is being developed by multiple agile teams, which were implemented as part of the transformation process that began after Cyberpunk's disastrous development. He didn't elaborate on what the expansion would entail, but did say that it will be developed by the same framework, as the Witcher franchise. We're fully committed to the Cyberpunk franchise and intend to develop it further. So, that's good news right there. But again, it shows, in my opinion, with the expansion, they're beginning to run the experiment, I guess you would say, with this new agile method. And they're first starting on the smaller scale, I suppose you would say, with the expansion. Instead of going all in on a brand new game, messing around with this new agile method, they're going to fine tune it first by developing an expansion under this new development process, figure out what's working, what isn't, and then rotate over to, I believe, a bigger project like The Witcher 4, and then eventually Cyberpunk 2 with this new development process. It makes sense. And again, I'm explaining why it's taking so long for anything to really get done over at CD Projekt Red when it comes to these updates and that sort of thing. All right, so a lot of you guys are also wondering, hey, Robbie, are we going to get multiplayer for Cyberpunk? And a lot of you guys are also asking out on the forums and the community, should we even have multiplayer? So check this out right here. It says, would you rather see multiplayer or more DLC expansions? This poll was run on the official Cyberpunk forums. And look at this. It's favoring single player big time. 94% want extra single player expansions and DLC for Cyberpunk. Only 6% desire multiplayer for Cyberpunk. And I definitely want more single player content. Honestly, if they never do multiplayer, I would be happy. Like, I want more single player content. And if they do multiplayer, of course, I personally would like it to be something where you can chill with friends, do co-op, heist, that sort of thing. PvP for me is like very, very hit or miss when it comes to PvP experience, because what's king? Battle Royale, and anyone trying new Battle Royale stuff usually does not succeed anyway. But yeah, we have more comments about the single player part of CD Projekt Red's thinking. Check this out right here. It says single player games will always be our core, CD Projekt Red said. And the company will continue to expand the Witcher and Cyberpunk franchises with online experiences, though. Expansions, TV, movies, mobile, and other offerings, and merchandising across new media to new audiences. And we're seeing that with, of course, Cyberpunk Edge Runners. That's something that I'm super excited for with this new Netflix anime. So that is really, really cool. Furthermore, it goes on to say right here that CD Projekt stressed that CD Projekt's focus will continue to be on single-player, story-driven AAA RPGs. But he said the company will be shifting its long-term strategy and approach to creating online experiences. However, we ought to expand on this a little bit more because a lot of you guys are probably concerned. I don't think you should be. Now it says, he said the company needs to make sure it is able to implement online elements where it makes sense. We don't want to go overboard or lose our single-player DNA. Sigh of relief right there. Kinski noted how CD Projekt Red had hinted that its next AAA game would be an online multiplayer Cyberpunk, but he added, we have decided to reconsider this now given our new, more systematic and agile approach. So yes, a bullet dodge right there in my opinion for sure when it comes to, of course, that big multiplayer standalone Cyberpunk game. I just think it sounds absolutely ridiculous given the stuff that CD Projekt Red has been through. All right, so now it's time to go over your top comments from my latest video. Remember to leave a comment down below. It could end up right here in a future video. So let's do this. So my most recent video was about this one right here. Update 1.6. Something strange is happening, and a new Deus Ex is in the works. So someone noted that update 1.6 seems to be the most tested update ever, indicating that it could be perhaps one of the biggest updates. I really do hope so. I hope it's bigger than update 1.5, which would be awesome. But it could also mean that they are testing a really critical feature that they want to nail with this next update, which I think could most likely be transmog. A lot of you guys want to see New Game Plus as well, but all bets are on transmog with the next big update. All right, let's see what you guys had to say about this one. We have Alex who says the following: I think they sorely need to add little mini games, something that people can just take their time and chill with in the world and not just go from objective to objective, but can seriously make exploring other locations, bars, areas a lot more fun. Yeah, more dynamic stuff. They also need more dynamic events. And again, job hirings are suggesting that we will be getting just that. Dynamic stuff happening around the world. I don't know if it's going to be with update 1.6 or if it's going to be with the expansion. We'll have to find out. Next up, we have Googly Bop, who says, I hope that they have New Game Plus because I love my first V and I want to go through the different story options as a complete badass right off the bat. Done with the game, with the challenges, and love it. But sometimes it is fun just to be an unstoppable beast. Yeah, you can be quite powerful in that game in Cyberpunk. But a lot of people are also saying, hey, it makes it too easy. So seems like there's an audience out there that wants more difficulty settings on top of everything. Furthermore, we have this. I'm supposed to be asleep right now. It says there's jewelry everywhere labeled as junk. I want to be able to use it on my character. I want to see more outfits too. The NPC's outfits are way cooler in my opinion. I've heard this so many times. They have some really, really cool stuff for the NPCs, and it's a shame that you don't get those in the shop and that sort of thing. So maybe, just maybe, we would see that, but it seems like the modding community has been more on top of that than CD Projekt Red right now. Now, Donald C. Stewart says, if we are lucky, we'll get a lot of new missions, a new home and garage where we can customize our cars, guns, and clothing. I would love New Game Plus and or a modding setup like Creation Club, but all we can do is hope and pray. Creation Club, something like that happening with Cyberpunk, you know, I'm just going to say it's very, very doubtful. That's a huge infrastructure to implement in this game. And considering they want to jump to Unreal Engine 5, excuse me, they'd probably want to develop, if they ever considered something like the Creation Club, they would want to use Unreal Engine 5. So they'd want to put that development power into that. Right now, anything like that, if it's, we're talking about developing entirely new systems for what I dub the old CD Projekt Red engine, it's just not going to happen. They're more interested in the Unreal Engine 5. But anyway, that's just my opinion on that one. But there it is. I would love to read all of your comments on the video, but thank you all so much for the comments and the smacking that like button. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more updates about Cyberpunk 2077, and we should be hearing more and more about The Witcher 4 eventually. But yeah, some cool stuff I think will be happening in 2024 as well. So in 2023 and 2024. So look out for news and updates. But thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned for more, and I will see you all next time. Take care.